There has never been an American president like Donald Trump. Scientists say the Earth is expanding, but not for the reason they think. It's because Trump keeps printing dumb moments and the universe simply needs more space to contain it. Every month with Donald Trump is like opening a mystery box. You know it's going to be bad. You know you're going to be angry. But somehow, the specific flavor of stupidity and chaos is always a surprise. May was delusional. June was something else entirely. It's like reality has filed a restraining order against Trump. The US just celebrated its 250th birthday. But at this rate, it won't last another 50 years. You might think Trump would sue me for this, because that's what insecure, shameless men do. But I don't care. Welcome back to our monthly series covering Trump's dumb moments. Like and subscribe to our independent channel, and let's get started. Number 10.
We have 325 to 350 million people. And you would think that we would have some great ones. We do have great ones, but they don't seem to be chosen by the Democrats. Now, of course, the Republicans chose one of the finest intellects in the history of our country. The cream to the top.
Intellectual? How about complete and utter clown? The man who started a needless war with Iran and then lost. The man who thinks Fanta is freshly squeezed. The man who thinks injecting bleach can cure COVID. The man who bragged about acing dementia tests. The test where you identify animals and draw 3D shapes. The man who can barely speak English. Trump said it himself. Smart people don't like me. That is one of the few honest things he has ever said. A very rare moment of self-awareness. Smart people don't like him because smart people can see exactly what he is. He is a walking, talking Dunning-Kruger case study. The phenomenon where the least competent people are the most confident. 80 years on this earth. The most powerful office in the world. Access to every expert, every briefing, every piece of intelligence the richest country in the world can produce. Yet he behaves like a child in a suit. Number 9.
What did you think of the reception you got from the Knicks fans tonight?
I thought great. I thought it was amazing, actually. Even when they had the camera on me, I thought it was very good. Yeah, it was certainly amazing. It was. I think mostly cheers. It was. Cheers. It was loud and it was very enthusiastic.
Listen to that. Very enthusiastic booing. Trump might be deaf now too. This man could get struck by lightning and tell reporters it was a warm embrace from God. Trump attends the game and the New York Knicks' 13-game win streak ends. He disrupted the fans and the city with all his security and barricades, forcing the police to work overtime just to fall asleep at the game. Falling asleep in a 20,000-seat arena with the volume of multiple jet engines would be impressive for a normal person, but not for the demented president. New York knows Trump the best. It's the place that watched him grift and lie and bankrupt businesses for decades before the rest of America found out, and they gave him the reception he deserved. Number 8.
But those windmills cost a fortune. They break, they kill the birds, they're bad for the environment. Nobody wants to be near them. The houses, I don't know how they got popular. They're not popular with the people. They're popular with investors because they get subsidy. But we pretty much cut that subsidy out, I think, Doug, right? You're supposed to be making money with energy. And here, wind, it needs subsidy. Energy shouldn't need subsidy. We have so many different forms of energy. But, I've talked about it for years. Wind is the most expensive. It's the worst. It causes tremendous problems. And it does. It kills millions and millions of birds a year. Nobody mentions that.
Not this again. Trump is spewing more nonsense. He once said the noise from wind turbines cause cancer. His hatred of wind energy is unmatched. Let's do what Trump is incapable of doing. Look at the evidence. Wind farms are expensive to build, but do provide cheap, clean energy once installed. Wind energy already supports around 130,000 jobs in the USA. Denmark gets most of their energy from wind. And when it is extremely windy, electricity prices can even go negative. Trump says energy shouldn't need subsidies, except he has given the oil and gas lobby $40 billion in subsidies and slashed plenty of regulations that keep Americans safe. And now he is targeting their competitors. Ask yourself why. Is it a coincidence the oil and gas lobby paid Trump and his Republicans $450 million during the 2024 campaign? Trump doesn't care about climate change because he knows he won't be alive to witness the damage. He's already 80 years old. The rising sea levels, burning summers, natural disasters, crop failures and mass displacement will be our problem, not his. He only cares about money. A habitable planet isn't profitable for him. Number 7.
These people built the country, not the complainers. The complainers didn't build the country. These people built the country, whether it's fishermen or farmers or anything else. Guys like me, they built the country. I watch all these ingrates, they're always complaining. They didn't build anything. They couldn't build anything. Look at what's happened in Minnesota, Somalia. All these people came in from Somalia. They ripped off our system. You have the woman who married her brother. She came in and married her brother. Isn't that wonderful? And then she talks about the Constitution of the United States. She comes from Somalia. They don't have constitutions in Somalia. They don't have police. They don't have all they have is people that run around shooting each other. And then she comes and tells us how to run our country. I don't like it. These people don't like it. I can tell you. I think I can speak for you.
Yeah.
She comes in, Ilhan Omar. She comes in. She tells us how to run the United States of America. And she comes from a place without anything, probably among the worst countries in the world. And she says, the Constitution of the United States protects me. She shouldn't be protected. She honestly, she should be thrown out of the country. She's corrupt. And most of the people that came in are corrupt. And the whole voting system is corrupt in Minnesota.
Guys like you? You mean grifters and thieves, pedophiles and liars built this country? Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's never worked an honest day in his life. Fake universities, fake charities, fake tax returns. He inherited an empire, bankrupted it, and was then bailed out by Russian and Saudi money. Later he entered politics, where he has completely sold out the country to foreign nations and billionaire interests. He says the complainers didn't build this country. Then he starts complaining about Somalians. Trump is the biggest complainer we've ever seen. He has spent years whining about rigged elections and fake news and Sleepy Joe and the deep state and the media and the judges and the Democrats and the wind turbines. He calls Ilhan Omar corrupt, while he's stealing billions from taxpayers and doing some of the worst insider trading ever seen. Why is Trump so obsessed with Somalians? There are less than 200,000 Somalis in the entire United States. And why are they there in the first place? Because in the 1980s, the USA decided to support a brutal dictator in Somalia, which later led to a brutal civil war and decades of violence. This caused a refugee crisis, forcing 800,000 Somalis to flee the country. Trump demonizes Somalis because he needs a scapegoat for his failing regime, a distraction from his crimes. Luckily, the founding fathers, the people who did build the country, had the vision to foresee Trump, and they built a system of checks and balances to make his corruption more difficult. For now, that system is still holding out. Number 6.
And we'll see what happens with the deal. We were really close to a deal, but they keep tapping us along. They keep playing us for suckers because you know what? They dealt with some very stupid presidents. I have to say that. I'm embarrassed to say it. Some very stupid people were sitting here. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Stupid presidents? Good thing we now have this intellectual leading the free world. Iran played you harder than anyone because you are the dumbest president in history. You ripped up a deal that already guaranteed Iran wouldn't obtain a nuclear weapon. A deal that allowed international inspectors, kept the Strait of Hormuz open and the oil flowing in exchange for $1.7 billion. You called it the worst deal in history just because it had Obama's signature on it. Without the deal, Iran restarted their nuclear program and began enriching more uranium. Then you decided to attack Iran last year. You claimed their nuclear facilities were completely obliterated. Yet you started a fresh war in February. You wanted unconditional surrender and regime change. But you failed. Now thousands are dead, including 13 American soldiers. Billions of dollars wasted. Oil and gas prices skyrocketed. Most allies refused to help. And now American credibility is in ruins. The whole world watched the most powerful military in human history achieve absolutely nothing against a country under 50 years of sanctions, with a fraction of America's defense budget. And now you made a deal where you are paying over $300 billion in reparations to help rebuild Iran, and unfreezing most of their assets, and removing the sanctions. Now you're changing the goalposts, pretending you never wanted regime change, desperately trying to sell this war as a victory. Their regime stays put. You replaced old Khomeini with young radical Khomeini, and now he can use all that money to not only rebuild, but strengthen his military. This war achieved nothing. He just made Iran great again. Trump thought he could rescue his presidency and rally his supporters by winning a quick, easy war, but he failed miserably. As always, Obama must feel very vindicated. Number 5.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it.
for
The numbers were
Republicans
great.
to try and hold
You know what I
the
really
House and
love?
Senate?
I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, you know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships, late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be, we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon.
Is Trump now brain dead? He just said that with a straight face. The man who ran his entire campaign on making America affordable, promising on day one everything gets cheaper, just said he loves inflation. When politicians start telling the truth, you know something's up. Saying he loves inflation, admitting he doesn't care about Americans' financial situations, calling affordability a con job, building stupid vanity projects, wanting a slush fund for J6 criminals, starting illegal wars while comparing himself to Jesus. Normal people rely on income, which inflation erodes, but not billionaires. Billionaires rely on wealth. Billionaires love inflation because it makes their assets rise in value, which means more wealth. Trump doesn't feel inflation. Trump profits from it. So much for lowering prices and making America affordable. At this point, it's self-sabotage. Trump's approval is at an all-time low. He's on track for an absolute train wreck in November. He might even lose both houses. And then the impeachment hearings will begin. But Trump continues to spout madness. A man watching his presidency collapse, who isn't trying to stop it, has either completely lost his grip on reality, or he has a plan that has nothing to do with winning elections. Number 4.
So you're saying you didn't break your promise, and yet, Mr. President, in your first term, you held to that promise, and it was so fundamental to who you were as a candidate to a first-term president. What changed? Because you insisted no new wars.
First of all, I didn't guarantee no war. Why would I have built the strongest military in the world? I built our military. I inherited a terrible military. We had no equipment. We had nothing. I built a tremendous military. Biden gave a lot of it away, but it's still a relatively small portion compared to what I built.
But you said it over and over again, Mr.
Why would I
President?
build a military? Now, I didn't want to use this, but I'm doing you and everybody else a big favor. In the midst of the greatest stock market in history, in the midst of the most successful country, because as you know, in the last term, we were a dead country, Kristen. I know you're a big liberal, we're a big progressive.
No,
but
I'm just a journalist.
We were a dead country. A year ago, a couple of years ago, we were a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Is he serious? Play the receipts.
Said, oh, he's going to start a war because they said I had that personality to start a war. They remember that? Oh, we can't vote for him. He's going to start a war. No, I used my personality that we didn't have to have wars. I was the first president in decades who started no new wars. Who started no new wars and no new wars. No new wars. We don't need the wars, foreign lands, countries you've never heard of, countries that don't even want us there. I was the first president in decades who started no new wars. I was the first president in decades who started no new wars. We will expel the warmongers from our government. You know, we never got into a war with me. I have a great record. We had peace. We had prosperity. We had no wars. We had no wars. That started no wars. We didn't have a war. You know, I'm the only president in many, many decades that didn't start a war. They're the party of endless wars. I was the first president in decades who started no new war. There were wars all over. He said, bring back Trump. It'll all end. It all ended. We had no problem. I'm going to keep you out of wars. I kept you out of wars. We had no wars with Donald Trump as your president. Remember when crooked Hillary Clinton used to say, he's going to get us into a war? We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier.
Surprise, surprise. He lied again. He lies as he breathes. Respect to this reporter for finally confronting him. How many times did he call himself the peace president, the peace ticket? How the hell are you doing us a big favor by dragging us into wars and building a $1.5 trillion military? Didn't you campaign to stop the wars and lower prices? Didn't you promise America first? Didn't 77 million people vote for you to fulfill that mandate? Nobody asked for this war. Nobody voted for this war. Nobody is sitting at home struggling to pay their bills thinking, oh, what I really need is a bigger defense budget and another war in the Middle East. That's going to fix my life. And for the last time, nobody cares about the stock market. The stock market doesn't reflect the real economy. Trump isn't building up the military to protect you. He wants to feed the military-industrial complex, so he and his billionaire buddies can benefit. On top of that, he's wasted billions in equipment fighting Iran, not to mention all the damage Iran did to the US military bases in the region. Trump and his billionaire buddies are getting extraordinarily rich off every missile, and every base, and every government contract. And then there's November. Trump needs the military to be his insurance policy, because at this point even Trump knows he's losing. His polling is catastrophic. A Democratic Congress means subpoenas. It means testimonies. It means impeachment proceedings. What he's preparing will make January 6th look like child's play. Number 3. Another shameless lie. Where the hell did you get that $5,000 to $10,000 number from? Nobody in America is seeing pay rises like this. What affordability wars are you talking about? I thought you said affordability was a con job. Trump's policies only benefit the rich, his donors. Groceries are still eye-wateringly expensive. Housing is more unaffordable than at any point in modern American history. The job market is brutal. Federal debt just hit $39 trillion. His tariffs are a tax on every American consumer. His deportations are gutting the agricultural and construction workforce, which is pushing food and housing costs even higher. His war nearly doubled oil and gas prices. His push for data centers is increasing water and electricity bills, creating noise pollution and traffic for locals, and damaging the local environment, including precious farmland. Yet he wants to gaslight you into thinking you're $5,000 richer. Trump has never been inside a grocery store in his entire life. He has no idea what bread, eggs, or any staple costs. No idea what a rent payment feels like. No idea what it means to live paycheck to paycheck like more than 60% of Americans. He is without a doubt the most out-of-touch president in modern US history. Number 2. Where do I begin? This whole UFC spectacle is unbelievable. This is some real dictator stuff. Roman emperor stuff. Hosting a UFC fight at the White House, the People's House, on his birthday. This house belongs to the American people. It is funded by their taxes, maintained by their taxes, staffed by their taxes. Who gave you the right to host this? This wasn't a celebration of America. It was to celebrate Trump. His ego is unmatched. The only American UFC champion was banned from the fight for criticizing Israel, banned from his own country's birthday event by the America First president. Last year he had a military parade. This year a UFC fight. I don't even want to imagine what will happen next year. Each dictator spectacle bigger than the last. Each one more about worshipping the man and less about the country. While Americans are struggling, Trump has shattered every ethical and moral standard out there. $60 million spent to host this fight, promoting corporate sponsors and Trump's crypto coin. And on top of that, Trump himself invested $50,000 in UFC stock just before the fight. And what did he do through all this blatant corruption? He fell asleep. Trump has no conscience. No matter how demented he gets, money is always the priority. You know who else holds lavish stunts using state resources while the population struggles to afford food? Any names come to mind? Number 1.
They sent people to jail who did nothing
All
wrong.
right, just to be very clear, there's no evidence of what you're saying. But let me ask you about Todd Blanche. Let me ask you about Todd Blanche.
Listen to me.
Let's talk
There's
about Todd
tremendous evidence. There's nothing
What's
but
not been
evidence. The
presented
election
in a
was
court of
rigged.
law.
It was a dirty election.
Mr.
And it's
President,
happening again right now in California.
You've never presented evidence
It's happening
that the
right
2020
now in
election
California.
was rigged.
Right now, it's look at what's
Where's
happening
the
in
evidence
California.
to that?
It's
The
4
Republicans
days.
are doing well in
California. It's no, they're not. They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with.
That's how they count
You know
the
why they're
votes in
doing that?
California.
Because they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
All I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not
and
evidence.
I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate?
That's how they count the votes in
Do you
California.
think it's appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a
State
winner?
and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging
They're
the
crooked.
votes to be counted quickly. That's how they vote
They're
in
crooked,
California.
just like you're crooked. Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
Really?
Let's
Well, you
continue.
play right into their hands. then.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid.
Let's
you play
continue.
right into their hands with this crap. You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But Mr. President,
you know why I
you've
got
never
that?
presented
Because you have no
evidence.
credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd
You
Blanche.
have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
Your
about.
elections
You
in
went
this
to
country,
court.
we're like a third world country.
But, sir-
Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and
But,
Meet
Mr.
the Press is crooked,
Mr.
and so
President-
is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But, Mr. President-
You're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good
Mr.
time.
President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat
I
in the
traveled
rain with
all
you.
the- I know. I
I've sat in the
traveled
rain
all the
with
way
you
to
for an hour,
Wisconsin.
on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what?
Mr.
A
President,
country can never be
We
great
traveled
with a dishonest
Listen,
press.
we
Come on, let's
traveled
go.
all the way to Wisconsin for the.
Just 4 words is enough. Where is the proof? This reporter just committed the worst sin according to Trump, the sin of asking for evidence. This interview was a disaster. Trump is such a baby and sore loser. If you try to press him for answers, he'll immediately break down. This man just had a complete tantrum because a journalist did her job. Didn't they say Kamala Harris couldn't be president because she's too emotional? He still can't accept he lost the 2020 election, screaming that there's plenty of evidence yet producing nothing. Not one shred of evidence produced. And yet Trump has raised hundreds of millions of dollars off the back of it. Perhaps the most profitable lie in human history. Trump and his allies filed more than 60 lawsuits to challenge the election results. And all of them were rejected. All of them were rejected because they produced no evidence. Elections he wins are the most legitimate elections ever held. The most beautiful elections. Perfect elections. Elections he loses are the most corrupt. Rigged. Stolen elections in the history of democracy. And if you ask for evidence, you're crooked. California apparently is rigged too, because of slow counting, because of mail-in ballots, despite producing zero evidence of any fraud whatsoever. Just Trump losing and refusing to accept it. A man this allergic to evidence, this incapable of accepting reality, this emotionally destroyed by a single journalist asking a basic question, yet there are zero consequences. He doesn't care anymore. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't even bother lying convincingly anymore. He thinks he is immune to accountability. That's the part that should terrify us. Normal presidents in freefall panic. They fire people. They pivot. They pretend to listen. They do something. Nixon was shredding documents. Clinton was triangulating. Bush was doing press conferences in flight suits, trying to save his numbers. Trump is playing golf. A man watching his own presidency collapse. His approval ratings in freefall. His economy bleeding. His war lost. His allies gone. His own base turning on him. Yet he is relaxed. Unbothered. January 6th was a mob with flags and face paint. Chaotic and disorganized. And it nearly worked. Now look at what he has built since. The entire Republican Party broken and obedient. He made an example of Massey, and every single one of them got the message. He has loyalists embedded in every institution. He has the military and federal forces at his disposal. A Supreme Court that gave him immunity. And he has nothing to lose. He said it himself. I'll be here in 2028, maybe 2032. America just turned 250 years old. It has survived civil war. It has survived the Great Depression. It has survived assassinations and scandals and political crises that broke lesser nations into pieces. But it has never survived anything like this, because nothing like this has ever existed. Not with this much power, not with this little shame. November is the line, a line between a republic and whatever comes next. Trump is counting on you to stay asleep. He manufactures chaos on purpose, to exhaust the people, make them switch off. The only way to stop him is to be outraged. Stay alert and resist. The moment you go quiet is the moment he wins. Thank you so much for watching and supporting our independent channel. Make sure you subscribe and leave a like, so you never miss a video. Take care and we shall see you again soon.